Try that again. Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker in the world. I hope you guys are fired up and ready for this fantastic Monday. I want to ask you a question, and the hope that I have today is that you will pause and reflect when you are faced with big decisions. When you are faced with really big decisions, you probably don't realize it or not, but you probably have a default self-conversation around making that big decision, or you have a methodology. Maybe you do a pros and cons list. Maybe you gather all of the data. Maybe you make decisions based on research. Maybe you make them quickly. Maybe you take a lot of time to mitigate all of the risks. But when it comes to making big decisions, I want to cause you to pause and reflect this morning to ask yourself one simple question. Are you living by faith or are you living by sight? Meaning, are you making your decisions based on all of the logical information without leaving room for a faith conversation? Are you like Abraham or are you like Lot? If you were to go into your Bible, what you will discover is that there was a gentleman named Abraham. Father Abraham had many sons, had Father Abraham. You've heard the story if you've been to Sunday school. Abraham, the one who was called to sacrifice his son Isaac up on the mountain, was switched out with a ram. God said, now I know how much you love me. You were willing to give your only begotten son, correct? This is the Abraham. He had a nephew named Lot. And when he was in the process of growing and being financially blessed and blessed in his family, he and Lot grew huge. They became so wildly successful that he and his nephew Lot started to have the herdsmen of each of their tribes argue and fight because there was a problem with the resources of the land. So Abraham took Lot to a location where you could see far and wide. And he said to Lot, if you go left, I'll go right. And if you go right, I'll go left. You choose what you want to do. It's your choice. You decide where you want to go, and we will go the other way. There's no reason to have our families quarreling over this, and I don't want that to be the outcome of our family. So let's separate. Well, it says, if you read your Bible, that Lot looked to one direction, and you know, we're talking desert wasteland, all right, on one side. On the other side, he saw lush, green land, fertile soil, beauty, water, everything. And for Lot, it was a no-brainer. And many times for you, big decisions you may be a no-brainer initially. But there's a missing element here for the person of faith. And that is simply this. Lot did choose and say, I want that land right there. Abraham said, you got it. Something fascinating happened though. Abraham in the desert, because he was walking with his Lord, was blessed beyond measure. He grew even greater in his blessings in the desert. And so the point that I want to make today is when you're making big decisions, you want to leave room for faith, you know, because we have a God that's big enough that can bless you in your dry season, that can bless you in your wilderness, that can bless you and provide for you and take care of you and multiply you in the deserts of your life, in the desert season of your life, when things feel dry, when things feel bare, when things feel maybe pruned. It's not always what appears to be the best choice that is the best choice. If you do not leave room for faith, you may miss out on an opportunity to make a decision that in the moment may not look like the best choice, but you just have a sense, this is what I'm supposed to do. Most of us, though, are too busy to even stop and slow down and reflect on that, and to even come to a place where a pattern that you can reestablish for making big decisions can be pausing to reflect. You know, nothing wrong with your checks and balances. Nothing wrong with your pros and cons. Nothing wrong with Googling and research. Nothing. Always make room for faith, though. Always make room for faith. Because what you think can be a tremendous blessing moving into one direction can actually turn out to be Sodom and Gomorrah and get blown off the face of the earth, y'all. By the way, that's what happened with Lot. It was bad news, man. He picked what he thought was a good place. It turned out to not be a very good place, y'all. You have Abraham who goes into the desert. And when you go into the desert and you go into the dry seasons and you go into those dark times in your life, going through dark seasons and dry places and deserts with God is like walking through the lush mountains of Maui. He can do anything, anytime, anywhere. He will prepare a table before your enemies. In the presence of your enemies, he will create streams in the desert. He will make things flourish and bloom that make no logical sense because it just don't make no logical sense. You see, to you and I, we have two realms that we operate in. We operate in the natural, and then there's a supernatural. With God, it's just natural because he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Are you in a dark season? Are you going through a hard time? Are you finding yourself with your back against the wall? Are you trying to make the best decision possible? Let me challenge you to consider taking a deep breath, getting still, getting alone, getting in nature, just quieting your spirit and your thoughts, and open yourself up to a conversation. Papa, is this the way I should go? Do you have an opinion on what I should do? Do you have any impartation? And then just be still. And normally for me, the answer comes peacefully. It is marked by peace. Not full understanding, not all the fact checks, not all of the details many times. Many times it's just a peace and a sense to do what's right. And then step out in faith. Because when you step out in faith, you make room for the God of the universe to bring you provision and bring streams of water and refreshing during the dark times. You guys have a great Monday.